So it looks as if DA Fani Willis has put herself in legal jeopardy. According to Judge Joe Brown, when she stepped into the courtroom, prosecutors were deliberating if she should even take the witness stand, and the judge was listening to what they had to say. However, she was so in a hurry to take the stand, because she said she couldn't wait. She was looking forward to it, and ran from her office to the proceedings, in great anticipation to testify. As you come on to the page, don't forget to hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thank you. Now let's listen to what Judge Joe Brown had to say concerning this topic.
She might not have had to testify in the first place. When she walked in, threw the sheaf of documents down on opposing counsel's table, put hand on hip, walked up with attitude, doing snake charm thing with her neck.
So this is the part where she walked into the courtroom, plumps her paperwork done on the desk of one of the prosecutors, and stare down the female prosecutor, and we hear the female prosecutor saying they are ready to withdraw the motion to put her on the witness stand.
She files her financial declarations, same problem. We need her in here to go over all of this and to explain exactly what happened. She was asked the court that the court allowed Ms. Willis to be called and interrogated on these matters.
Can I believe you, Your Honor?
Just a moment, Ms. Willis. So, Ms. Cross, I don't know if you want to speak with Ms. Willis now. It's sounding like maybe they're withdrawing the objection to the motion.
I'm happy to leave the motion to...
Or does Ms. Willis want to take the lead here?
Well, I draw the motion to quash Ms. Willis based on the motion. I'm ready to go.
Okay, so the position of the district attorney at this point is that she's no longer contesting the subpoena. Ms. Merchant has called her as the next witness.
So this is the part where she walked into the courtroom, plumps her paperwork done on the desk of one of the prosecutors, and stares down the female prosecutor. And we hear the female prosecutor saying they are ready to withdraw the motion to put her on the witness stand, and Fani Willis said she's ready to go, waiving the option to appear on the witness stand, but I guess she wanted to clear her name, because she said they lied on her. And this is why I believe she wanted to take the witness stand. So now we got back to Judge Joe Brown and his take on what he saw from the lens of the judge. Kindly hit the like bell and don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so as yet. Thank you.
She might not have had to testify in the first place. When she walked in, threw the sheaf of documents down on opposing counsel's table, put hand on hip, walked up with attitude, doing snake charm thing with her neck. At that point, the lawyers for the DA's office were arguing that she did not need to testify. She decided to override those lawyers. And one important aspect of this case is she was not on trial. She was merely being a witness at that point. And then she put herself into a position where you have the spectacle of the chief prosecuting officer for a major American city, Atlanta, needing to take the Fifth Amendment. So, one of the things that's interesting is that she had given evidence that there was a tax lien on her home. Now, to clear those up, you have to deal with some affidavits and satisfy IRS that you should be placed on an installment payment plan, all right? Then she's talking about she's got $15,000 in cash in the house. Then we have all of these cash transactions that should have been receipted and recorded. They weren't. You have the 501k she talked about. She got out and she used that for campaign purposes, but that was taxable income once she removed it from the account. She didn't report that. So we've got a real live mess going on here in terms of tax fraud, tax evasion, and that kind of thing. We've got a specter of money laundering here that raises itself. We have a number of issues that she brought out. Nobody had developed them before, that actually, ironically, put her under the spotlight that comes from the Georgia RICO statutes that she's proceeding against Mr. Trump under. So, my, you get on the stand and you were prosecuting somebody and you blurt out stuff that under oath, recorded, everybody looking. It makes you look like you need to be prosecuted for the same statute. Now, on the thing that people are getting sidetracked on, well, she had this affair, it just happened, you know, they ran into each other on the job. No, she had this affair going before he got brought in as a special prosecutor. Well, it really doesn't make any difference, because if she was dealing with him before he got appointed, she should have approached the judge in camera and advised him of his or her ethical conflict. And if it developed afterwards, as soon as it did, she should have walked in and talked to the judge in camera, and that means in his chambers confidentially about it, and giving him the option of saying, well, he's got to go because you're signing off on his claims for reimbursement. So you do have some say in what's going on, and because of what you said about your intentions toward Mr. Trump before the election even occurred, we needed an independent counsel. So this is bad. Now, if the court said, well, I think you can stay on, but we're going to have to reveal this to the other side, she might have had second thoughts and said, well, okay, we'll let it go. And some other DA's office can come in and go through all of the changes relative to this case. But I want to have it so badly, I'm just got my hooks in it. I'm not going to let it go. I don't tell. So either way, if it started before he got on as special prosecutor or it started after he was already on, the affair I'm talking about is bad because she should have brought it to the court's attention. But nobody had to ask her. Under the canons of ethics, she had a need to come in and advise. Now, here's the other thing, too. She signs off on this, and you have to get a perspective for the exorbitant amount of money he was being compensated for. This case has not even been set for trial. He already been paid roughly twice what the Attorney General of the United States of America gets paid per year for handling all of the business of the country. He has been paid so far more than what the President of the United States gets paid per year. So keep that into context. You multiply, well, don't multiply, but if you add up all of what the other prosecutors have submitted as a bill, it isn't even a third of what he's been compensated so far. And this thing has not even had any hearings on it, in essence, that are of significance. So we've got a potentially enormous bill that the state of Georgia, the county of Fulton, that means Atlanta, the people that live there are going to have to foot, because look, out of the same fund, you have to pay other attorneys who've been appointed when there's a conflict, and say the public defender's office cannot be appointed. And see, you have to keep in context. She is not on trial at this point, though she might wind up in that condition.
As you come on to the page, kindly hit the like bell and don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so as yet. Thank you.
But this is a hearing to determine whether or not the Fulton County DA's office is removed from the case and another office is appointed. Now, the practical matter that everybody in America is concerned with is this going to go to trial or be set for trial before the election or after the election? If before, then you tie up a candidate who is the favored candidate for a lot of people in this country, and you disrupt his ability to campaign, which is kind of out there. Somebody, New York here, another New York, somebody, Florida, is trying to get into, oh, wowee whoopee, I'm going to take over for the country and save it and I'm going to take this guy out so the rest of them don't have to be tempted to vote for it, which is kind of crazy. 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 people try to override 640 million people. It's kind of strange. So it's not right. But the other thing is if another district attorney's office gets involved, they may say, same thing that happened with her, HUR, the special counsel for the U.S. Attorney's Office or the Attorney General, and say, well, under the circumstances, we declined to prosecute. Now, you may not need a special prosecutor if you bring in another office. That would save a lot of money and expedite the matter, and I'm sure that entity would say, we need time to get up to speed. Sure, how long you need? So that's after the election. So for some reason, I saw one of the dumbest things I've ever seen a lawyer do, which is this person came in and instead of acting like you see CSI and all of this stuff that people have looked at for the last 50 years, where the district attorney, the staff is learned and efficient and the boss is really heavyweight. He knows how to, or she knows how to get things done. She admonishes her staff about you've crossed the line. We have somebody that came across like maybe a high school graduate, no insult, down in the hood, sitting in a beauty salon, running her mouth off.
You got a tax lien in 2022, $4,600.
Did you say I did?
And you did not use this cash that you had to reimburse Mr. Wade to pay that off, correct?
No. I went shopping too when I didn't pay it off.
So Fani Willis, on the day of the testimony, she was really volunteering a lot of information that was not asked of her, and that is Law School 101. Don't volunteer information that's not asked of you.
Well, I had a former first cousin-in-law who was a chief IRS criminal investigator, and she said that she often had her staff watch these things to pick up clues that they should investigate. So I'm sure somebody was listening, and somebody is feverishly trying to get a promotion, raise, or whatever it is. Look, this is what came. Oh, we got that too. Well, who's going to be on the team to investigate it? Now, I happen to have a friend, Wesley Snipes, and I participated in the proceedings against him. He got 3 years in a federal penitentiary, not for tax fraud, not for tax evasion. IRS testified that he'd overpaid his taxes by $250,000 and had a refund check for him waiting there in court. Now, the interesting thing is what he did 3 years for is failure to file a complete set of returns. So this not only is not a incomplete set of return filings, this is no filings at all. And she was in private practice, so I assume she had to deal with taxes at some point, and we have no documentation, no receipting. We've got cash transactions that need to be reported. We've got problems here in that the state of Georgia demands a little bit more when it comes down to reporting how the taxpayers' money got used. So what did you do here? First thing is she might not have had to testify in the first place.
That was Judge Joe Brown on Megyn Kelly's show being interviewed, and Karib Gold Olga interjecting her commentary in between. This case has taken so many twists and turns, not only for Fani Willis, but we are going to see the judge's ruling, and where do they go from there once the judge rules. Because there's an ethic issue with Fani Willis and this relationship. I do agree. Whether the relationship was before he was hired or after, it still was not appropriate for the DA to date someone on the job. If they wanted to date, he should not have taken employment there, or she could have disclosed it to her boss, and have the judge decide the appropriate action. As you leave the page, kindly hit the like bell and don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so as yet. Thank you.